Hi Psychiant family! Welcome back to the channel where we delve into the mysteries of the mind. I'm your host, Mr. Tomtom, and today we're going to be discussing a topic that's been in the news a lot lately. Signs of a fool, according to the legendary Carl Gustav Jung. Now, before you watch it and think that this is just another video, let me assure you, this is going to be a journey through Jung's deep psychological insights. We will explore what ignorance means in the context of the human psyche, why it matters, and how we can all become wiser by understanding it. So grab a coffee, sit comfortably, and let's dive into the mind of Carl Jung. First off, let's clear the air. The phrase, signs of a stupid man, isn't it something Carl Jung wrote in big, bold letters in his books? It's a modern spin, popularized by YouTube channels and blogs, that tries to boil down Jung's complex ideas into bite-sized wisdom. But here's the thing. Jung didn't think stupidity was just about low IQ or saying dumb things. For him, stupidity was a psychological phenomenon, a trap we all fall into when we ignore the deeper parts of our mind. So today, we're going to do two things. First, we'll unpack 6 so-called signs that modern creators have linked to Jungian ideas. Things like lack of emotional control, ignorance of self, and projecting your flaws onto others. Second, we'll go beyond the clickbait and explore what Jung actually said about stupidity, human nature, and the path to wisdom. Spoiler alert, it's not about pointing fingers and calling people dumb. It's about understanding why we act foolishly and how we can become more whole, more individuated, as Jung would say. Before we start, hit that like button if you're excited to learn, and subscribe to Psychiant for more deep dives into psychology. Let's get started. Okay, let us kick things off with the 6 signs that some creators claim reflect a stupid man in Jung's set S psychology. Now, I'm going to be clear, these aren't direct quotes from Jung, but they're inspired by his ideas about the psyche. As we go through each one, I'll explain how it connects to Jung's work and where it might oversimplify things. Ready? Here we go. Sign 1. Lack of emotional control. The first sign is lack of emotional control. Picture someone who flies off the handle at the smallest provocation, road rage, yelling at a waiter, or snapping at a loved one. Modern takes say this is a hallmark of folly, and Jung would probably agree, but not for the reasons you might think. Jung believed our emotions are tied to the unconscious, particularly the shadow, that hidden part of ourselves we don't like to face. When you lose control, it's often the shadow taking over, acting out impulses you haven't integrated. In his book Ion, Jung wrote, "The shadow is a moral problem that challenges the whole ego personality." If you're constantly ruled by your emotions, you're not confronting that shadow. You're letting it drive the car. But here is where Jung gets deep. He didn't arrest and think emotional outbursts made you stupid in a permanent way. They're a sign you're out of balance, disconnected from your deeper self. The solution? Self-reflection, journaling, therapy, or even dreams. Jung loved dreams, can help you understand what's triggering you. So, lack of emotional control isn't just about being hot-headed. It's about ignoring the unconscious signals that could make you wiser. Sign 2. Ignorance of self. Sign number 2. Ignorance of self. This one's huge in Jung's world. If you don't know who you are, your strengths, your flaws, your hidden desires, you're stumbling through life blindly. Jung was all about individuation, the process of becoming your true, whole self. He said in The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, "The first step toward individuation is to become conscious of the shadow." Modern takes frame this as stupidity because, without self-awareness, you make the same mistakes over and over. Ever met someone who keeps dating the same toxic partner or sabotaging their career? That's not just bad luck. That's a lack of self-knowledge. Jung believed the unconscious is always trying to talk to you, through dreams, gut feelings, or even those nagging thoughts you push away. Ignoring those messages? That's what keeps you stuck. Here's a practical tip. Try active imagination, one of Jung's techniques. Sit quietly, let your mind wander, and have a conversation with parts of yourself. It sounds woo-woo, but it's a powerful way to uncover what's driving you. Ignorance of self isn't a life sentence. It's a call to start listening. Sign 3. Overreliance on ego. Next up, overreliance on ego. This is when someone's so caught up in their image, their job title, their social status, their Instagram aesthetic, that they lose touch with their deeper self. Jung called this the persona, the mask we wear to fit into society. In Psychological Types, he warned that identifying too much with the persona can make you rigid, shallow, and disconnected. Modern interpretations say this is stupid because it's like building your house on sand. Life throws curveballs, job loss, breakups, midlife crises, and if your ego is all you've got, you'll crumble. Jung's solution was balance. Honor the persona, but don't let it define you. Explore your unconscious through creativity, meditation, or even therapy to find the self beneath the mask. I love this quote from Jung. The persona is a semblance, a two-dimensional reality. Clinging to it might make you look successful, but it's a shortcut to a hollow life. Wisdom comes from embracing the messier, deeper parts of who you are. Sign 4. Inability to learn from mistakes. Sign 4. Inability to learn from mistakes. We've all met someone who keeps making the same bad choices, right? Jung had a lot to say about this. In The Structure and Dynamics of the Psyche, he wrote, "Mistakes are, after all, the foundations of truth." For Jung, screwing up isn't the problem. It's refusing to reflect on why you screwed up. This ties back to self-awareness and the shadow. Mistakes often happen because unconscious impulses, anger, fear, pride, are running the show. If you don't pause to ask, why did I do that? You're doomed to repeat the cycle. Modern takes call this stupidity, but Jung saw it as a missed opportunity for growth. He believed every mistake carries a lesson, and reflecting on it brings you closer to individuation. Here's a quick hack. After a mistake, write down what happened and what you were feeling. Then ask, what's the pattern here? It's like being your own therapist. Learning from mistakes isn't just smart, it's how you become whole. Sign 5. Lack of discipline. Sign 5. Lack of discipline. This one's less about Jung's explicit writings and more about his overall philosophy. Jung was a disciplined guy, writing thousands of pages, analyzing dreams, and exploring the unconscious like a scientist. He believed individuation requires effort, focus, and commitment. In Modern Man in Search of a Soul, he said, "The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can only be solved by growth." Modern takes frame lack of discipline as stupid because it leads to a chaotic, aimless life. If you're always procrastinating, chasing instant gratification, or avoiding hard truths, you're not growing. Jung would probably nod along, but he'd add that discipline isn't just about willpower. It is about aligning your actions with your deeper purpose. Find what matters to you, whether it's art, family, or self-discovery, and let that guide your focus. Discipline isn't sexy, but it's the bridge to wisdom. Sign 6. Projection of faults. Finally, sign 6. Projection of faults. This is pure Jung. In Ion, he described projection as when you take your own flaws, say jealousy or insecurity, and pin them on someone else. Ever notice how the loudest critics are often guilty of the same things they complain about? That's projection at work. Modern takes call this stupid because it keeps you blind to your own issues. Instead of growing, you're stuck blaming the world. Jung believed projections come from the shadow, and the only way to stop them is to face that shadow head-on. He wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Next time you're mad at someone, ask, is this about them or is it about me? It's humbling, but it's how you break the cycle of folly. Now that we've covered the 6 signs, let's pivot to what Carl Jung actually said about stupidity. Spoiler, it's way more fascinating than a list of traits. Jung didn't see stupidity as just a personal failing. He saw it as a psychological and cultural force that shapes our world. Let's break it down. 1. Stupidity as a collective force. In a letter from the early 20th century, Jung wrote something chilling. Just because a thing is stupid, is it important? for then it appeals to many people. But when a thing is tangibly idiotic, you can be sure that it is very powerful, very dangerous. Think about that. Jung wasn't just talking about one guy making a dumb choice. He was talking about how stupid ideas, simplistic, emotional, or irrational, can spread like wildfire. Look at history, propaganda, mob mentality, even viral trends. Jung believed stupidity gains power because it's easy to digest. It doesn't challenge people to think deeply. As Psychiant fans, you know, we're all about questioning the surface, right? Jung AS warning here is clear. Don't underestimate stupid ideas just because they sound ridiculous. They're dangerous because they're seductive. 2. Stupidity and the unconscious. Jung also linked stupidity to the unconscious. In the Red Book, he wrote, "The extraordinary extent of stupidity inherent in all men was disregarded and denied. It is what separates and isolates the mixed seeds of life." Heavy stuff. Jung saw stupidity as a universal human trait, not a label for dumb people. It's what happens when we ignore the unconscious, our dreams, our instincts, our deeper truths. For Jung, the unconscious is like a wise guide, always nudging us toward growth. But when we shut it out, we act foolishly, repeating mistakes, chasing illusions, or projecting our flaws. The 6 signs we talked about? They're all symptoms of this disconnect. Jung OS solution was an iximiti, to judge people as stupid, but to help them reconnect with their inner world. 3. Stupidity and illusion. Another big idea from Jung, stupidity is tied to illusion. He argued that everything humans create, technology, wars, even this YouTube channel, starts as an imagination or illusion. Calling something an illusion doesn't make it powerless. It might even make it stronger. In the archetypes and the collective unconscious, he said illusions shape our reality, for better or worse. This is why Jung didn't just laugh off stupid ideas. He studied them, dissected them, asked, why do people believe this? As Psychiant fans, let's take that approach. Next time you see a stupid trend or argument, don't just roll your eyes. Ask what it reveals about the human psyche. That's how you turn folly into insight. 4. Compassion, not judgment. Here's where Jung flips the script. Unlike some modern takes that love to dunk on stupid people, Jung was compassionate. His archetype of the wounded healer says we're all broken in some way, all carrying a shadow. Judging someone as stupid might just be you projecting your own flaws. In Man and His Symbols, Jung wrote, "The greatest sin is to be unconscious." For Jung, the opposite of stupidity isn't being a genius. It's being conscious. It's facing your shadow, questioning your illusions, and walking the path of individuation. So, instead of pointing fingers, Jung would say, look in the mirror. That's where the real work begins. Okay, so, why does all this matter in 2025? We live in a world overflowing with information, opinions, and, let's be honest, a fair share of tangibly idiotic ideas. Jung's insights are like a lifeline. They remind us that stupidity isn't just about dumb people. It's about losing touch with our deeper selves. Social media, for example, can amplify the 6 signs we talked about. It fuels emotional outbursts, rewards shallow personas, and makes it easy to project our flaws onto others. But it can also be a tool for growth, if we use it to reflect, learn, and connect with ideas that challenge us. Jung's message is timeless. Wisdom comes from within. By facing our shadow, questioning our illusions, and embracing discipline, we can rise above folly, not just as individuals, but as a society. That's the Psychiant way, right? We don't just consume ideas, we wrestle with them. All right, Psychiant fam, let's wrap this up with some practical takeaways. Here are 5 Jung-inspired ways to avoid the traps of folly and grow wiser every day. 1. Practice emotional awareness. Next time you feel angry or upset, pause. Ask, what's my shadow trying to tell me? Journal your feelings to uncover patterns. 2. Know thyself. Set aside time for self-reflection. Try Jung's active imagination or analyze your dreams. The more you understand your unconscious, the less you'll stumble blindly. 3. Balance your persona. It's okay to care about your image, but don't let it define you. Explore your creative side. Paint, write, or meditate to connect with your deeper self. 4. Learn from mistakes. After a setback, don't just move on. Write down what happened and what you can learn. Mistakes are your psyche's way of teaching you. 5. Cultivate discipline. Find your purpose, something that lights you up, and let it guide your actions. Small, consistent steps toward individuation will transform your life. These aren't just tips. They're a roadmap to becoming more conscious, more whole, and, dare I say, more Jungian. And there you have it, Psychiant Fam, a deep dive into the so-called signs of a stupid man through the lens of Carl Jung. We've unpacked the modern spin, explored Jung's real thoughts, and found practical ways to grow wiser. Or Jung's big lesson: stupidity isn't a label. It's a signal to wake up, face your shadow, and walk the path of individuation. If you loved this video, smash that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Psychiant for more psychology deep dives. Drop a comment below. What is one Jungian idea you are going to try this week? And if you want to go deeper, check out our playlist on Jung's archetypes, link in the description. Until next time, keep exploring your psyche, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video. This is Mr. Tomtom, signing off.